What up, party people?
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, guys?
I know I got to come up with like a new introduction type way of saying things.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope everybody's having a good evening. Let's see. I had something I was going to say and I totally forgot about it. But I do got some notes here that I written down. But regardless, hope everybody's having a good evening and hopefully, everything will get better in time. And if you're having a bad day, it won't stay bad forever.
Or it could.
Depending on where you live. If you live in some slave mine somewhere, that's unfortunate, and I hope you get out.
What'd you drop?
I didn't drop anything. That's the fire.
Oh,
yeah, it's popping. I put in some pine wood to try to superheat the garage really fast, and I kind of regret it now. But yeah, you want to talk about the
inauguration?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get it out of the way.
All right. You got some stuff you want to say?
Mainly, okay, so there's the whole Hail Hitler thing with Elon
Time
Musk.
out. All right. Now you're good.
The whole Hail Hitler thing with Elon Musk. I don't really know what to make of that.
All right. Now, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get political, but Hillary did it. Obama did it. A bunch of people have done the whole salute thing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's, the whole Nazi thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just pointing it out because, it's Elon Musk and he's one of the top people. So they're going to try to hammer anything they can get.
And then Trump turned around and immediately withdrew us from, or is trying to withdraw us from the WHO, World Health Organization. And then something about he made it so that companies can be discriminatory now in their hirings. He took away indiscriminatory laws, I think.
Okay, I think what you mean by that is, so in the government, you're not allowed to discriminate, but there's some jobs in the government that you can't hire like other people from other countries. So it's like a weird thing because a lot of private companies like weapons developments and rocket companies and everything, they cannot hire anybody that's not native from America. And so I think it's weird how everything's set up, but I think that's what all that was talking about. On the whole WHO thing, what do you think about that? Because me personally, we're paying a huge budget of it, and I don't know. I don't think America should fit the bill for the world, if you get what I mean. I think too much of our money is already put out into the world. I think we need to rake some back in and get America's infrastructure back. And
so isolationism. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. I tried figuring out what the WHO really does, and it just seems like they're a data and analysis company. Like that's what it boils down to. Is they take in all this data from like all these other countries that are a part of it and whatnot. I agree. I think we pay like, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's
200 billion.
But the percentage of the WHO's budget.
Oh, I don't know the percentage. I just know how much we.
But we're the main contributor.
Yeah.
And like I don't agree with that. I think we're saving money in the short term, but it leaves us at a risk for other stuff to happen, like another COVID potentially. But that's one of Trump's like main arguments is that he doesn't like how the WHO acted during COVID.
Yeah.
How they responded and such, which I don't know how they responded, but
I'm not entirely sure either.
Yeah. I don't even know like what they're necessarily supposed to do. From what I was reading, all they are is a data and analysis company. Like they just
Well, they do supply like certain groups throughout the world, like in Africa and some in the Middle East and whatever, like health
humanitarian
items.
aid.
Yeah,
And like that's cool and all, but like, why are we paying for that?
exactly.
Yeah, and so yeah, I think it's more or less fine. I think it takes away from the whole bringing the world together under one roof. I think it takes away from that. But you know, I don't know. Like, should we be the ones fronting the bill all the time?
I don't think we should, because
Yeah.
I mean, you can clearly see the effects of us fitting the bill all the time. I mean, I say this a lot, but American infrastructure is going downhill. And I think that we should have some type of bill instead of sending these billions and billions out to wherever around the world. We should send them around, fix up our cities, make them look futuristic or cool, like Japan and China does with theirs. And yeah, that's basically.
I think it's an unfair comparison there, because Japan's the size of one state. Like, America's like, I think people don't realize just how big America is. Like, I mean,
America is big.
Like, we're as big as China, and we're almost as big as Russia. And I don't know what the population size is, but we could potentially have more people than Russia. And
we do have more.
I don't think we have a bigger population than China.
No, not China. China has 1.4 billion. I think Russia has like 100 and something million, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. We'll look it up. America's got 335 million.
Yeah.
Let's see. Look up Russia's. I'm pretty certain I'm right about. All right, yeah. So we do have more than Russia.
Yeah.
Russia only has 144 million.
So we've got like almost double what they have.
And then China, I do believe, have 1.4 billion. I could be wrong about that. No, I'm right.
Yep, 1.4 billion.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think I just think that's kind of an unfair comparison. I think a more fair comparison would be like Japan to the UK, or not the UK, but Britain, England.
Okay.
I think they're roughly about like the same landmass. Probably not the same amount of people. We're just looking up.
Talking about England. England is having a heck of a time right now with terror attacks. They just had another terror attack. I think it was yesterday or something. Some guy went and stabbed a bunch of kids and 2 adults. I think 3 kids died. But that's been like a huge occurrence over there in Europe, which is unfortunate.
So Britain has 70 million, and Japan has 125 million. That's quite the difference.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Oh, the WHO. And then, but it doesn't really make any sense because, like, the organization is still going to exist. Yeah, they're probably going to have to, like, do layoffs and stuff, but, like, big whoop. And then,
that or other countries pitch in and, pay for it.
Which, how likely is that to happen, right? But then, in history, they worked hand in hand with the CDC, Center of Disease Control. And so, like, we don't know if they're going to continue to work with the CDC, if they're going to, like, halt operations with the CDC because we're no longer a part of it, which doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, I think the main thing it boils down to is the money, is that they're not going to have our paycheck anymore. And that's really going to sting. Because, like, how could they, like, why would they stop taking in our data and stuff? As far as, like, certain diseases that pop up or viruses or whatever. Like, are they just going to be like, nah, we're not going to cover that territory anymore? Which is fine. kind of boils back down to the isolationist. Like the CDC exists for a reason to, you know, help maintain and control diseases and viruses spread across America.
I am interested in to see like all the reforms that happen with this administration. Trump's already froze NIH. Do you know what that is?
Hmm.
National Institute of Health.
Okay.
So these are like all the prescriptions and drugs and stuff like that, and they gets put out into the market and whatnot. These are the people that do it, and he's put a freeze on all their travels because it's a fully government funded like institute. He put a freeze on everything, and my guess is he's waiting until RFK gets in there and goes through and they figure out what they need and what they don't need. Because, like the government, there's a lot of spending that, isn't very efficient. Like, did you see all the stuff that Elon is already kicked out?
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, it's the thing I was reading. It was it had to do with like sports and like there's government programs and stuff that have to do with like cornhole, something to do with badminton, and like there's like we spend like 3 million on badminton for sports throughout the world and stuff. So he's just going through, and anything that's not irrelevant or that like helps Americans or whatever, he's cutting.
Well, I mean, I've seen government spending firsthand, being in the military and whatnot. So here's like a really good example, right? So during my service when I was in Alaska, the F-35s had like just come out, right?
Yeah.
And they were stationed. They had just been stationed at Eielson Air Force Base in Alaska, and so we got the F-16s and the F-35s, and they are split into two different shops, right? So you have your maintainers for the F-16s, you have your maintainers for the F-35s. You got like all these different types of maintenance shops. So I'm gonna spit them out. You're not gonna know what I'm talking about, but you got avionics, propulsions.
I know about those.
Well, okay. Well, anyways, so those are just basic examples. But there's like, let's say like 8 different maintenance shops per plane, right? Well, so the F-35, since they're the new thing, all the money goes towards them, and no money goes towards anything else. So you have these F-35 maintainers that have state-of-the-art equipment, everything from like computers to the type of wrench that they use, you name it. Whereas everybody else gets, like I said, nothing. And a good example is that they get state of the art everything. My shop that I worked for wouldn't in the budget to get toilet paper.
Really?
Yes.
What did y'all do?
We had to self-fund, meaning like we all had to pitch in and buy toilet paper.
Dang, that's crazy.
That's pathetic, is what that is. Crazy. I don't get to wipe my ass, but someone over there does. That's not fair. Come on. And don't be wrong, like my career field is kind of bottom of the food chain. I get that. But still, like basic amenities should be taken care of.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. All right. So the other things with President Trump and everything, did you see that he pardoned all the, well, not all, but like 95% of the January 6th people?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So it's like 1,500 people. The January 6th, when Biden won or whatever, all the people that were in the Capitol and went into the Capitol bill and everything, mainly the Democrats went and jailed 1,500 people because they said that they were insurrection and everything.
What, the riots?
Yeah. Yeah, he pardoned like 1,500 people.
All right. Well.
Now, there's some that he's going to do like base by base to see, because, some people did break the law, but the majority of them didn't. So he pardoned 1,500 of them. and the others, they're going to go back through and see if they can be pardoned or not.
So what's the big deal about that?
Well, that's the big deal about that is what Biden did.
You think those people should be free?
Yeah, most of them, because a couple of them, like there was one dude in there that he was just walking around. He did nothing wrong.
Okay, well, I think once you start getting into like thousands of people, lines get blurred easily.
Well, here's the thing that I wanted to talk about too. Biden pardoned the January 6th committee because they think that they use like unethical reasons or whatever to jail most of the people. And you don't pardon somebody if they didn't commit a crime. You see what I'm saying?
What?
All right. So the committee that jailed these 1,500 people,
Okay.
he pardoned them.
Okay.
And you don't pardon somebody if they don't commit a crime.
Okay.
So therefore, people are saying that they use unethical reasons or ways to be able to put most of these people in jail. And they've been in jail for 2 years or so. And you can't bail them out. Once the government puts a stamp on it, it's done. But Biden went ahead and pardoned the January 6th committee along with his family and Dr. Fauci, which I thought was pretty crazy. Why would you pardon, the main guy who was, leading the COVID thing?
I think Biden can do whatever he wants. He was president.
Yeah, that's true. But
and obviously the American people didn't like that very much. That's why we voted for somebody else.
Yeah.
But what's said is done. And there's not much we can really do about it. As far as the 1,500 people, I think I disagree. Don't get me wrong. When someone is incorrectly jailed or prisoned, that's obviously, a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I feel for them. However, the people that like storm the Capitol and whatnot, like that's not appropriate behavior. That's not the kind of imagine if one of your kids was in that riot. What would you do? Right? It's like I would be so embarrassed as a parent. Like, why would you? Because it's such a small amount of people, 1,500, right?
Yeah.
Versus what did we say the U.S.'s population was? Yeah, 335 million. It's like, okay, we got a little riot going on. I just feel like it's inappropriate behavior. It's not something that like I want to be seeing every day. And this small group of people just happened to be up in arms at the time and decided to go towards the Capitol and whatnot. And so why shouldn't they be punished?
Well, the one thing is the Second Amendment. You're allowed to have arms. You can go, wherever.
Okay, I said up in arms, but I didn't mean that literally, like with guns and stuff.
Well, but did you know that there was 40 FBI informants in with the whole crowd, and they even let them through?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I got a video I want to show you. All right. So, let me see here. Let me share the screen.
Like, that was 1,500 people in D.C.
Yeah, but people can be easily led. It only takes a few.
I mean, isn't that on the person, though? Like, you still... Like, if you're naive enough, dumb enough, whatever enough to fall for, like, into a mob mentality, then that's on you, Like, deal with the consequences is kind of what I'm getting at.
Okay. All right. Watch this video.
Okay.
Fox News alert, the Justice Department just released the bombshell report that we've been waiting for. What actually...
And by the way, members of Congress has been trying to get this information from the FBI for the last 4 years, and none of the FBI would talk about it. They just said, like, I can't answer that question, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And so now they finally got the answer.
Actually happened on January 6th. The FBI had 26 confidential human sources there that day. 26. A confidential human source is a guy the FBI pays to spy for them. Of the 26 confidential human sources who were in D.C. on Jan 6th, 4 entered the Capitol during the riot. An additional 13 entered the restricted area around the Capitol. So more than a dozen FBI spies participated in the so-called insurrection. A bunch of them broke into the Capitol. Their own inspector general says this is what happened, but that's not what they told you when they testified under oath.
Those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th, how many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents on scene.
I thought I heard you say you didn't know whether there were FBI agents or informants or human sources in the Capitol or in the vicinity on January 6th. Did I misunderstand you? I thought that's what you said.
Well, I referred very specifically to undercover agents.
Yeah. And so are you acknowledging then there were undercover agents?
As I sit here right now, I do not believe there were.
All right. But, all right, let me go back so people can see us.
All right, so we got 26 out of 1,500 people.
Yeah, but people are easily led, especially if everybody's upset. You know, most of them probably aren't in the right mindset. They're all mad. That's easy to lead people.
So are you trying to say that these undercover agents, these FBI agents, are the ones that pushed for the mob to go on to the Capitol?
I do believe so.
Okay, we're getting
Yeah.
into some conspiracy shit here.
Hey, you want to know the crazy thing, though?
Tell me.
Is most of the conspiracies from like 10 years ago are coming up true. You don't think that's weird?
Name one.
All right. I can't name one right off the spot, but I'm going to put a list together. And then
Okay.
all right, like for example, the weather, the weather machine, like countries can change their weather or whatever. That was a conspiracy for the longest time. The U.S. denied it. All the countries denied it. Now all of a sudden, China's saying, "Oh yeah, you know, we can change our weather." NASA had one, I think, in Alaska. So that's a conspiracy, and that got proven right. I'm just saying, it's weird how, like 10 years ago, all these conspiracies, and now like they're all like coming up true. That's all I'm saying. All right, I do got another video for you to watch though.
Okay.
All right, let me see here. I gotta redo this thing. I can't wait till we make it big and we got our own computer guy. All right, so where's it at? Oh yeah, this thing right here. It's pretty funny. If it plays. All right, I guess it's not going to play. But basically, Putin put out a warrant for Dr. Fauci, saying that he caused a humanitarian crisis or whatever during the COVID thing. So anybody who's basically allies with Russia, if Dr. Fauci goes to that area for vacation or whatever, they're going to lock him up and take him to Russia. I just thought that was hilarious.
So I kind of circle back, like, so you think that just because you're easily influenced is an excuse for your actions?
No, it's not. But I mean, riots happen all the time. I mean, it only takes one or two people to do something, to move a barrier or whatever, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh yeah, let's go through here." People are easily manipulated. So I honestly believe those 30 FBI agents, they probably had a huge impact on what happened on January 6th. And that's why, I mean, most of the people that were jailed like didn't do anything other than they walked into the Capitol building. All right. I also have another video I want you to watch.
Oh boy.
This one's not that bad. It's actually pretty. Let me see here. So this is what I wanted to. This is what I'm waiting on to come out.
Sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating.
For one thing, it's been like what 80 years since JFK got assassinated. It's been a good bit. I don't know the exact years. I'm just 60 years, and they've held the classified documents for 60 years. I mean, I don't see why. Why would they hide something on an American president getting assassinated if we or an ally didn't have something to do with it? Now that's a conspiracy.
We're really going down the rabbit hole.
Now I can't wait for Trump to release these because I'm pretty interested in what they say.
To the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades.
All right, that's basically that one. And then I just seen this, and I'm kind of hoping Trump and Elon and them kind of get rid of our. I mean, I guess you could say it's where corruption stems from.
Shocking news. Over 12,000 lobbyists spent $3.9 billion in trying to buy influence in Congress in 2024. This is why our politics are broken. I have never taken a dime of lobbyist or PAC money. We need to ban lobbyists from giving money. We need to ban PAC money, and we need to ban.
What do you think? What's your opinion on that?
Lobbyist?
Yeah. What's your opinion on lobbyists?
Well, I guess
For me, I don't think anything should have like buying power into rules or regulations. I mean, if something's good for us, then we allow it. If something's bad for us or the environment, then we try to find, a clean and safe way to do it. I don't think that some companies should be able to spend $200 million on certain Congress members to be able to pass whatever regulations they want to be able to make a profit.
I mean, it just kind of sounds well.
And this is where you gotta, because lobbyists and lobbying is a freedom, and it's what makes us different. And it's what separates us from, I guess, being like China, where China has full power over everything. But the only problem is this causes a lot of corruption. Like I would say like a good majority of all corruption probably starts from this. Especially APACs. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, reading it, it sounds like corruption.
It does.
And
I'm hoping, Trump's team can do something about it. I don't think they will because it's a lot of money in lobbying.
I just think it boils down to, you know what? I'm stumped. I got nothing. Okay, I don't know.
Right.
I feel like I'm about to say some bullshit and I don't want to say it.
That's fine. All right, let me see. Oh, so Mr. Dark 086 said mob mentality when we was talking about the J6 insurrection thing.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. All right, so another thing is my thing that I'm pretty excited about Trump doing is ending taxes on overtime. You know how much money I'm going to be having when I work overtime now? That's going to be great. I'm pretty excited about that. Because I'll see my paycheck and a good 40, 50% of my overtime just goes straight to taxes. So if I can take that back, that would be awesome. I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know how many other people are, but that's something that like affects everyday me and you. And I don't think the previous administration did anything other than that ban the red dye thing. I mean, I can't think of anything. Can you?
Not right off the top of my head, no.
All right. And then, do you want to talk about the TikTok ban?
What's the point? It's coming back.
Well, no. I got a little conspiracy
Oh,
with the
boy.
TikTok ban.
Can we get this over with? I got like real emotional
All right.
stuff to talk about.
Let me just get this out. All right. So I will admit, TikTok is one of,
Your favorite pastimes?
I wouldn't say it's my pastimes, but I do learn like a lot of information before it even hits the news. Like it's pretty crazy. Like sometimes I'll see something on TikTok, then the next day it's on the news. So TikTok's a lot faster than our legacy media or whatever. But ever since the ban, my TikTok has been a little weird. So I don't get any of the like original algorithm I used to have. Like my original algorithm was like in between politics, science, physics, space. And every once in a while I'd get like a weird Chinese food video. But now it's totally different. Like I'm still getting some political videos, but it's nothing like before. I'm not getting anything about the California fires. Yeah, it's just mainly junk that I'm getting right now. So I don't know if they turned it off and screwed up, I guess, my algorithm or what, but it's different and I don't like it. But that's all I have to say about that. All right, let me see. Oh, here's another thing.
All right.
All right, so like we was talking about, Fauci got pardoned,
Okay.
which I'm hoping. Have you seen a picture of him?
Not in a long time.
All right, well the dude just looks evil. like you can there's some pictures out there that you can look at the people and just know like their intent is not for good. And he's one of those people that you just look at him and you just have a feeling that his intent isn't for good. But RFK wrote a book and it's called The Real Anthony Fauci. And you would think that, you know, if what is in this book is fake or not true, that he gets sued or get a cease and desist letter or something like that. But nothing's happened. And this book has been out for years and years. And it talks about, you know, Fauci doing illegal things in Africa and pretty much making a bunch of African people have AIDS and give them medication that kills them. And like they actively know it kills them. But that's who Biden pardoned. So I just wanted to put that out there. All right, and I have one thing that I want to ask you.
Okay.
If there's one person you could talk to in the whole world, if they've passed away, you know, whatever, who would it be?
I mean, it'd be my grandmother.
Your grandmother out of everybody?
Yep.
Mine would be Albert Einstein. I would just like to sit down, talk with him, and just see how he thinks, because he was way further ahead in physics and everything than anybody, even today.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
people are still trying to prove him wrong.
Yeah. So I would like to sit down with him just to see how he thought he came up with all this different things and whatnot.
So the problem with that is, for one, I think there'd be a language barrier because he's German.
Yeah, but he knew English.
I mean, have you heard a German speak English?
Well, yeah, but I can buy. All right, so there's these new translator earphones I was thinking about buying, and you just put them in, and you select the language that it needs to translate from, and then it'll just translate while you're sitting there talking to somebody.
And secondly, I don't think I'm smart enough to follow along in a conversation.
Well, I mean,
with
I
someone like
don't.
that.
I don't think I'm smart enough to follow along either. But I would sit there for as long as he'd let me and just sit there and talk to him, just to get like a glimpse of his thinking process and how he came up with things. And then my second person would be Jesus Christ. Because
You got a lot of questions there, don't you?
well, I just want to, because like how he's portrayed and everything, I would just want to see like who he actually was and if there's any merit to what the Bible says and how it says and all that. So that's just like a religion standpoint. But yeah, that was my thing.
Okay, so aside from family, I think George Washington would be a good one.
George Washington?
To be the dude in the room that everybody points to lead the country. He didn't want to. Everybody just pointed and said, "You do it."
Yeah,
The cojones on that man.
I don't know. He'd be like 10th on my list.
I mean,
Like out of all the people, George Washington.
yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, my third person would be Nikola Tesla.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, because he's portrayed as being like kind of crazy and everything, and I would try to see his thinking process and whatnot, just see if I can't absorb anything that they say.
All right. How about somebody that's alive?
All right, somebody that's alive. I didn't think about this beforehand.
I think I might do Neil deGrasse Tyson
I was thinking about that.
or Elon Musk or Joe Rogan.
Well, the problem with Elon Musk and Joe Rogan is they're like, yeah, they're smart, but they just re-say what they've heard and everything. I want somebody that's like the original person. So like, God, I can't think of his name. I think he's Japanese. He's a physics. I can't think of his name right now. But mine would probably be somebody that talks about physics and space and quantum mechanics. Like quantum mechanics.
Bill Nye be a good one.
He doesn't really talk about quantum mechanics though.
I
He
mean,
talks about like
you act like you can understand it.
base. I'm learning it. All right. I've actually been, trying to learn the quirks and, all this other stuff. But a lot of it's hard to grasp.
Mm-hmm.
But I would want to talk to somebody that has to do in that type of field.
I'd rather talk to somebody that I could like actually have a conversation with, and not just me asking questions and them lecturing me. Like I feel like with Neil deGrasse Tyson, I feel like he's a chill enough dude that I could talk to him about fucking Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and he'd be like, "Yeah, man, those are dope."
I got a blue eyes.
Yeah. Who else that's alive? I mean, honestly, Donald Trump wouldn't be a bad one to have a conversation with.
I would talk to Donald Trump.
I would too. Mr. Beast, famous man, the most famous man on
Well,
the internet.
he's trying to buy TikTok. Because all right, so Trump's thing for TikTok to be allowed in the United States is he told, I don't remember the dude's name that owns TikTok or whatever, but he told him, he was like, look, he's like, I'll allow it back in the United States, but it has to be 50-50. So they own 50%, and then some company in America, doesn't matter who it is, as long as it's an American company, owns the other 50%. So now Mr. Beast, I watched a video of him. He said that he was flying somewhere to talk about maybe owning 50% of TikTok. So yeah, I mean, be pretty interesting. Do you want to talk about the things I sent you? I can't even remember what I sent you.
Well, you sent me something about camel milk,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't know if you actually read the article.
I did not. I just seen that scientists think that camel milk is supposed to be more nutritious, and I was like, all right. I was like, we'll talk about some camel milk.
So I read the article, and it really boils down like there is just barely a difference. Like we're talking 1% difference in between like cow milk and camel milk.
Yeah.
So just as an example, cow's milk typically contains 85 to 87% water, right? Camel milk consists of 87 to 90% water. What difference does that really make? I mean, I feel like we're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
And then the second thing you sent me was about China's artificial sun, their version of the fusion reactor that they're working on.
Yeah.
And really, like, all they did was get it to run for like a couple minutes,
Well,
100 seconds.
That's a huge thing, though.
I mean, it is, but
Because I think the original, like before that, the original time was like 29 seconds or something. That I can't remember what country. I think it might have been Japan.
But they were purely testing how long they could get it to run for. They were not testing how much power output they were putting in versus how much they were getting out.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a big thing, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you see what I sent you?
I did not. I was scrolling trying to find other stuff.
So there's this movie called Underwater, and it stars the chick from Twilight,
Kristen
Stewart.
Yeah.
And in it, it's about, I'll just short and sweet synopsis. It's underwater mining, deep sea mining specifically. And they end up like awakening like this ancient Cthulhu beast, and like he's like a god and like whatnot. They all die, yada yada. But it got me thinking about like, why don't we do deep sea mining? Like,
We actually do.
we don't.
No, there's two companies that have like this suction thing, and right now all they do they don't do deep sea mining, but they do like I think it's like a couple 100 meters from the coast, and what they do is they just collect all these iron. They're like black rocks, and they just collect all this iron and other minerals that are just laying on the ocean floor. That's been there for God knows how long.
So as far as deep sea mining goes, I would have thought it already existed, but it actually doesn't. So like, it's supposed to start this year. People are finally getting like licenses to be able to do it, and I just thought that was pretty cool. All the like mining and stuff that we do up here, why don't we do it out in the ocean? I feel like there'd be a shit ton of materials out there. But then, could you imagine that job? Like,
That job would be crazy.
that would be insane. Like a deep sea welder to me is insane. I couldn't imagine being like stationed at the bottom of the ocean, like mining resources.
And there could be like huge creatures just swimming around you. Yeah, that would be. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
If you ever had the opportunity to go on like a submarine,
Nope.
you wouldn't do it?
Nope. I wouldn't do it.
I knew a submarine captain.
Really?
Yeah. He was going.
All right, let me take that back. I would do it if they could prove that it was 100% safe. But what was it, like the 6 millionaires or billionaires or whatever
Oh, well, that doesn't count.
that died? I wouldn't do that.
They controlled that. They piloted it with an Xbox
Yeah.
controller.
Yeah, if it was like a safe and they've done it a bunch of times, and nobody's died, I'd probably take the chance. But the only thing is when you're down that deep, you can't see nothing. Like it's pitch black.
Yeah, but just to know that you've been somewhere that like almost no other human's ever been.
Yeah, I don't know. That's very low on my bucket list.
I think it's terrifying. I think it's like the ultimate claustrophobia.
I would much rather go to space.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
Why?
I mean, I feel like it's equal chances of death.
Going out to space is way safer. It, it is. All right. For one, going down into the ocean is way more pressure than what it is going into space because there's a vacuum in space.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have your space station or whatever that's pressured inside. But other than that, you don't have like millions and millions of pounds of pressure on a submarine or whatever. You know, one wrong thing or whatever, and it has a chance of, you know, blowing up or imploding or whatever. So I would rather go to space. I would want to see like, you know, what stars and everything looks like without the atmosphere of Earth blocking all the light and bending it or whatever.
You wouldn't want to see an anglerfish in person?
I mean, I'm not really that worried about anglerfish, honestly. So no. I mean, if the chance arises, yeah, sure, why not? But I'm not going to go out of my way to try to go into the ocean. But that, I mean, that is a.
Did you see Dark's comment?
Yeah. Somebody on TikTok wants us to talk about Fort Knox.
Fort Knox. What about Fort Knox?
I'm not sure. What does it say? Fort Knox.
It's a military installation
Oh, it's
in
the
Kentucky.
gold standard. That's where we apparently keep all of our gold.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
these bullions of disaster. A large portion of the United States official gold reserves. Nice. I don't know what there is to talk about
I'm
there.
not exactly sure. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about.
Well, if you don't mind,
What is it?
Dark's comments.
No.
I want to get into the therapy side of this
All right,
channel.
let's
Okay. So I came off my meds.
How do you feel?
I feel weird. I don't really know how to describe it. I feel very like foggy. Like I can't concentrate.
Now, were these like anxiety meds? Like what kind of meds were
These
these?
were anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideation
Okay.
meds. Pretty high strength stuff that I was on.
How long have you been off of them?
Off of them, like 3 weeks now.
Okay.
But I was on them. See, it's 2025 since 2019.
Oh, okay.
So I was on them for quite a long
Yeah.
time. And so like I have no idea how long like my body's going to be readjusting to not having them, you know?
Now, did you cold turkey it?
I did cold turkey it.
Now, did you ever get like electrical shocks?
No,
In your
but you know
head or
that
anything?
submarine captain I just mentioned, he was going through electric shock
Yeah.
therapy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's not shock therapy. It's apparently it's like a syndrome or something that when you withdraw off of like a heavy substance or SRSs or any of the other anxiety or depression medicines, apparently sometimes it can make like your brain have like a electrical shock, and it's painful from what I've read, but yeah, I just wanted to know if you had that.
No. But yeah, just really cloudy. Can't concentrate. But the big thing is that I've been handling my emotions very poorly this
Okay.
past week. Um,
Been lashing out.
no, not exactly. I don't know. I've always been very open, and I always I encourage like talking about your problems and stuff. And you know, I've gone through years of therapy. You know, talk about all this, and well, something happened within the last like 2 weeks or a week and a half that I couldn't decide how I felt about it. And what I mean by that is like I had a very strong emotional reaction to it. And then I took a step back and I was like, is that a genuine emotion or is that like me being crazy again, you know,
Okay.
now that I'm off my meds? And so, you know, I was like questioning whether my emotions were valid, you know, I kept second guessing myself. And you know, my wife is like the closest person I have, and she knows me through and through. And I always talk to her about my problems. And something
Yeah.
that came up is that she kept asking me what was wrong. And the moment she asked me what was wrong, I would be like, I don't need to talk about this. I'm fine.
Okay.
And that is not the mentality I want to have. I have in the past, like these past few years, have all been open and freely talk about what's, you know, on my mind, what's wrong with me, so on and so forth. And so I don't know if that's like me coming off the meds that's causing that, if it's the mentality of the people that I'm around that is having like an effect on me, because the people that I'm surrounded by are very like, you know, anti emotions, and like, you know, you got to keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah. It's like the old school
Yeah.
men mentality.
And so yeah, I'm not okay with that. I don't like not, or I guess being closed off, especially to my wife of all people. And then the thing that like, because she would kind of second guess me for being off my meds. You know, she's like, you know, you're off your meds. You know, you got to kind of feel like how your emotions are going to flow from here on out. And it's like, woman, like I just like secured that, like, yes, this is a valid emotion, and now you're making me second guess myself again. And so yeah, oh, you're not human.
I'm
There you
trying
go.
to be.
There you go. You're human.
Now, why do you think you blocked her out and, you know, didn't want to talk about it when she asked?
Well, so when I first asked her opinion on the matter, it kind of seemed like she was against me or like taking the other person's side on the matter.
Okay.
And so that made me think that, like, okay, maybe I am overreacting, you know? And so I was like, well, if I am overreacting, then I don't want to be a little bitch baby about it. And I'm not gonna, like, I don't need to talk about this. I can figure it out. Like it was almost like my own stubborn pride. Like I knew that I had a problem with something. Someone else made it seem like that problem wasn't significant, or you know, it had much merit to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, because of that, I'm just going to squash this. And I kept like, I started spiraling pretty bad. And because I just kind of kept going back and forth with like whether or not I was overreacting or not. And I've landed on that I was not overreacting. That like my opinion and emotion is valid. And so yeah, I'm just going forward with that.
Okay. Okay. So you said your mind's very foggy. Do you still exercise?
Yeah.
Did you exercise today?
No, because the wife is sick and
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
wanna-
All right. A lot of things that I've read is like when people got foggy minds or whatever, like they go run or exercise, and that seems to clear it up. Trying to think of something else that might help. You still vape, don't you?
No.
Oh, you don't vape?
Mm.
Oh, okay. When'd you quit vaping?
I mean, I've been off and on for past couple months, but I quit like early December.
Okay. You know what I was thinking about doing?
What?
there's these nicotine pouches because apparently nicotine's like really good for like your brain and
Mhm.
can help your neurons.
Helps you shit.
Well, I don't know about that, but what I've read is that it helps your neurons and you can think faster and everything. I was thinking about getting.
I don't know about that, but I know it keeps you awake.
Well, no, it's a. Here, I don't want to butcher it.
I'm kidding. I believe you.
All right,
It's fine.
but it's a nootropic, so
Okay.
it helps your brain function and everything a little better. And I was thinking about because I don't smoke, I don't vape, so I was thinking about getting these pouches that have nicotine in them.
Yeah.
It's just pure nicotine. It's
Yeah,
not like
it's to help people quit dipping.
I was thinking about getting some of those and just like taking them whenever, I got to talk or if I'm in like a social thing, whatever, just to have like that extra brain boost, I guess. But yeah, you just reminded me of that.
Hmm.
But back to you. How are you feeling right now?
I feel all right. I got some. So I don't want to directly talk about what kind of set me off.
Okay.
However, I do want to talk about how I'm going to react. So initially, I was like, I'm going to take a back foot or a back seat and just kind of let my interaction with this person play out, right? Like wait for them to make the next move.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to be the bigger person and reach out first and then see how it goes. Because I don't know,
Are you?
I feel like if I'm not the bigger person, then I'm being a petty person. But then again, it's like, how many times can you be burned by the same person over and over again before you've had enough? Like,
Yeah.
do I have to be the bigger person every time? And I'm starting to get tired of it. I'm starting to get sick of it. But I think, given my own morals and my own pride and who I am, I think I will be the bigger person. This might be the last time. I don't know.
Does how can I say this without giving off too much information? Does this person play like an active role in your life or like all
I
right.
would consider them one of my closest confidants.
Okay. So pretty important then. I don't know. Like, I guess my thing is if it's really affecting you and you can't get past it or let it go, confront it and whatever happens and deal with the consequences after.
But
whatever happens.
I've had confrontation in the past, and it just kind of seems like it's just repeating itself, and like I don't know if I'm. It kind of boils back down to like I don't know if I'm overreacting about it, or not, and so yeah, I mean,
So this is a reoccurring thing.
more or less, like it's not the same problem over and over again, but it's just kind of like a repetitive pattern. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well.
like it's always something.
Okay. Well, then more than likely, this is just me guessing or whatever. Depending on how this person feels, if you confront them, do you think it could end that relationship? Or because if this happens all the time, then, or not all the time, but if this is like a reoccurring thing, then obviously there's either not enough respect or
Yeah, my wife has said that.
this individual doesn't maybe this individual's ego is, like out of bounds or whatever.
And it's like, do I I mean, it comes back to being like, do I put my foot down and like jeopardize the friendship, or do I just keep being the bigger person because that's who I want to be?
Okay.
Is that who like? Oh, that's who I want how I want my kids to see me.
Yeah.
And well, granted, I don't have any kids right now, but trying to fill the shoes I set for myself. Yeah, I guess like how many times, if it were you, how many times would you let the same person burn you?
If I'm close with them, once. If they burn me more than that, then obviously, there's not the same level of respect. And I'll distance myself and then let them, live their life. That's kind of, I'm kind of in a similar situation with somebody that I'm somewhat close to because can't. All right.
You got to be ambiguous.
I
with
know.
it.
I know. I can't give out too many details. All right. So basically, to simplify it, I've reached out. I'm always the bigger person. No matter what, I accept the excuses and whatnot. But now I've gotten to the point to where, I can tell that it's not the same level of respect. It's not, we're not on equal terms or whatever. So I've decided that I'm just going to step back, let this person live their life. I'm not going to reach out anymore, and whatever happens, happens. So, in my opinion, for your situation is if there's not the same level of respect, and obviously you said that this is a reoccurring thing, have a serious conversation with the individual and just like tell them your standards or your boundaries or whatever. And then if they can't handle that conversation, then they're not mature enough to be able to respect you in the way that you want to be respected anyway. And overall, that relationship is probably going to fail and not last. But that's just my opinion.
No, it's a good opinion. And I feel like I put so much energy into this relationship, and I don't get much out of it.
Yeah.
And and it's like they're not respecting my time and my energy that I put into the relationship. They're not willing to meet me with it.
Yeah.
Or if they are willing to, then they're just flat out not. And for the people that are closest to me, so for myself, I have extremely high expectations. For my wife, I have the exact same expectations, for the most part. And then for like the people closest to me, I have high expectations for them. And then the further you go out, the lesser expectations I have. And so, but I understand that I do have that I may have very high expectations for this person. But I guess if they're not willing to meet those expectations, then we don't have the relationship that I thought we did.
No. And see, the other thing is like everybody in their life is on different frequencies. And what I mean by that is, everybody's got problems and stresses and, situations that are happening. And a lot of people don't know how to handle the situations that they're put in. I'm guilty of that. You know, there's situations I've been in where I could have handled them way different than what happened, and you know, kind of regret how things ended, but that's life. I mean, you gotta live, learn, and try not to repeat. I'm trying to give out some like good vibes and whatnot.
You want to know something, man?
What's up?
I take you for granted.
What do you mean?
I appreciate how good of a friend you are to me, and I feel like I don't express that enough.
Okay.
And I just want you to know that I do appreciate how good of a friend you are, and I feel like I do take you for granted because there are times that, like you always will go out of your way to text me, and I try to reciprocate
Yeah.
that. I'm not as good at it as you are, but there are times like that you want to hang out or whatever, and I'll say no because I'm waiting to see if this other person wants to hang out.
But yeah, but that's just life. I mean, that's how thing goes.
Yeah, but I feel bad because it's like, well,
Well, no, you shouldn't feel bad. I mean, that's everybody does that. I had a thing I was going to say, and you totally.
oh, my bad.
No, you're good. But thank you. I appreciate you too. But I wouldn't feel bad about that. I mean, everybody's got different things going on in their life. Like I said, everybody's got problems. It's hard, especially, you know, when you got family, kids, and everything like that, to try to link up with somebody else. And I don't mean that by like, you know, sexual or whatever. I mean that by like, you know, hanging out or doing this or doing that. And everybody's schedule is different. So the way I see things is, you know, if we can do it, we can do it. If not, you know, there's always another time and we'll try again later. And that's the way I see everything, really. So yeah, I don't necessarily think you take me for granted or whatever. But I do try to be like a good moral person. I don't know if that has anything to do with ego or anything, but the way I see things is if I just try to be the best I can be, I mean, what else are you going to do in life? You're going to backstab people and steal and cheat. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a shitty person.
Yeah.
But, you know, I do have to set, like, I have to have my own limitations and I have to set boundaries, right? Like, because what kind of person would I be if I just let people walk all over me, you know?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people allow that. I think everybody should try to be the best person they could be. You should have boundaries. You should have morals. And you should just try to live life the best you can. I mean, there's going to be negatives all the time. There's probably more negatives in life than there is positives, you know, just based on how life works. The only thing is you have to look for the positives and try to hold on to them for as long as you can. And then when you get into like a negative situation or, you know, something bad happens, just keep on pushing through and eventually you'll get through it. And, hey, you just keep doing that until you die.
You know what I'm very guilty of?
All right, let's hear it.
Holding my tongue. Because for one, I'm so scared to offend somebody or to hurt someone's feelings that I'd rather just keep my opinion to myself. But then I feel like that's a double-edged sword because what if my opinion could have helped somebody?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the context of whatever's being said or whatever. Because like most of the time I'll hold my tongue, but if I know for certain, whatever somebody's saying is wrong, I'll let them know. Like, and then I'll back them up with whatever evidence or research or whatever I read or can be proven to be right. Most of the time, I just let people be dumb because there's a lot of dumb people out there that think they're right, and I'm guilty of that. I think I'm right sometimes when I'm wrong, and I accept that I'm wrong and try to, like I said, do better. I would say for me, it depends on who I'm talking to as well. Because if it's a stranger and, they're just talking about a bunch of whatever, I'll just walk by. I'm probably never going to see that person again in my life or interact with that person. So I just keep on going and just live my life. If it's somebody close to me, I'll speak up, let them know, like, hey, that's not right, or, whatever the context of it is. And, leave it at that.
I think I try to leave it for if someone directly asks for my opinion. Like, I try not to go out of my way to involve myself in other people's lives. But if someone were to like ask me for my opinion or to reach out, then that's when I would step up and speak.
Okay. I mean, I think that's what generally everybody does.
Yeah.
Other than like those few people that don't have that guard or
Filter.
filter.
Yeah.
Because there's some people out there like that. I know a couple of people like that.
Yeah, so do I. That just give their opinion no matter what.
Yeah. And most of the time they're wrong. I would say like a good 90% of the time.
Those people irritate me.
Yeah.
We've been going for 70 minutes.
There we have. All right, let's see. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I'm pretty okay.
All right. Well, that's a pretty good podcast and everything.
This one went by really quick.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, so that was tonight's podcast episode. Our next one will be next Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. If you have anything you want to talk about, a topic, or it could be anything, I'm pretty well versed in a lot of things. Could be politics, science. What else? Help me out here. Just anything really. Like we'll give our opinion on whatever you want to talk about. It could be emotional. It could be whatever. You can confess as long as it's not something that's gonna land you criminal charges or anything. But yeah, so just reach out if you want to talk to us. We got multiple social media sites. Have them all on my phone. So if you message, I'll know, and we'll set it up. But yeah, you want to say goodbye?
Peace.
Later, guys. Goodbye.